shocking secret: the wife was killed after revealing her husband's true nature. Dive into another wild ride on our channel. If you love stories that'll make you go, no way, smash that subscribe button and tap that like. Today's tale is going to blow your mind with twists you won't see coming. Stick around as we break down a story that proves real life can be crazier than any movie. Drop a comment below, hit subscribe, and get ready for an epic story that'll keep you glued to your screen. Would you like me to modify anything about the script? I kept it conversational, encouraging, and direct, using simple language that's perfect for engaging Reddit story viewers. In the sultry heat of September 2003, a shocking story of deception unfolded in West Palm Beach, Florida, centered around Emily Kenyon, a 37-year-old wildlife curator whose life would tragically intersect with betrayal and hidden truths. Known for her compassionate nature and extraordinary passion for reptiles, Emily was a respected professional who dedicated her career to caring for some of the most fascinating snake species, including rare specimens like the green mamba at the local reptile house. Emily's journey began at the University of South Florida, where she pursued her biology degree and met her husband, Marlon Kenyon. After graduation, they settled into a charming home with a spacious backyard that perfectly accommodated her twin passions, an elaborate garden, and carefully maintained snake enclosures. Her younger brother Brian, a teacher in Orlando, remained her closest confidant and most supportive family member throughout her life. A pillar of her community, Emily was far more than just a reptile expert. She was a dedicated volunteer at the local animal shelter, an active member of the West Palm Beach Garden Club, and a frequent organizer of charitable events. Friends and neighbors consistently described her as warm, approachable, and perpetually willing to help others with an infectious enthusiasm that made her beloved throughout West Palm Beach. By early September 2003, Emily's world was about to be dramatically up. Driven by concern, Linda approached the backyard fence and called out to Emily. Receiving no response, she pushed open the gate and was confronted with a horrifying scene. Emily lay face down near her cherished rose bushes, surrounded by a growing pool of blood. The tranquil garden had been transformed into a crime scene of unimaginable violence, with a bloodied golf club lying ominously nearby. Panic seized Linda as she quickly dialed 911, her hands trembling as she reported the gruesome discovery. Emergency services responded with remarkable speed, but the paramedics could only confirm what Linda already feared. Emily was dead. The brutal nature of the attack was immediately apparent, suggesting a crime of intense personal rage and premeditation. Within moments, the quiet neighborhood erupted into a chaos of flashing police lights and hushed, worried whispers. Curious neighbors peered from behind curtains and through partially open doors, their faces etched with shock and disbelief. Local media, including the Palm Beach Post, began to circulate the devastating news, transforming Emily's personal tragedy into a community-wide moment of grief and fear. As the West Palm Beach Police Department arrived at precisely 7:45 a.m., the overcast sky seemed to mirror the community's collective sorrow. A beloved community member had been violently taken, leaving behind a web of unanswered questions and a profound sense of loss. The investigation would need to unravel not just the circumstances of Emily's murder, but the complex personal dynamics that may have led to this shocking act of violence. Detectives James Avery and Avery Brooks arrived at the scene with professional urgency, understanding that the initial hours of a murder investigation are critical. Detective Avery, renowned for his analytical precision and calm demeanor, immediately took command of the crime scene. His partner, Detective Brooks, approached the investigation with meticulous, methodical care, ensuring every potential piece of evidence would be carefully preserved and documented. The once pristine garden had been transformed into a chaotic crime scene of shocking violence. Blood spattered across the grass and patio told a brutal story of struggle, with an overturned flower pot lying ominously beside Emily's body. The murder weapon, a golf club completely covered in blood, caught the detectives' immediate attention, its presence suggesting a premeditated and personal attack designed to inflict maximum physical and emotional damage. Forensic experts arrived with professional efficiency, systematically documenting the scene through comprehensive photography and evidence collection. Emily's body bore stark evidence of a violent confrontation, with multiple traumatic wounds to her head and upper body. Broken flower pots and scattered gardening tools painted a horrific picture of a fierce, unexpected attack that had interrupted Emily's peaceful morning routine. The crime scene unit worked with surgical precision, dusting for fingerprints on the golf club and surrounding surfaces, collecting blood samples, and carefully preserving potential DNA evidence. Each movement was calculated, understanding that the smallest fragment could be the key to unraveling the mystery of Emily's murder. Turning their attention to witness statements, the detectives first interviewed Linda Ross, the neighbor who had discovered Emily's body. Despite her evident shock, Linda provided a clear, consistent account of her morning discovery. Her detailed testimony helped the investigators begin constructing a preliminary timeline of events, offering crucial initial insights into the potential circumstances surrounding the murder. As the investigation expanded, detectives Avery and Brooks canvassed the neighborhood, methodically interviewing residents about any unusual activities. Several neighbors reported hearing a heated argument late the previous night, though no one could definitively place a suspect. Inside the Kenyon home, the detectives discovered no signs of forced entry, a chilling detail suggesting Emily might have known her killer, perhaps even welcomed them into her home before the fatal confrontation. The crime scene revealed an intriguing puzzle, and Marlon Kenyon emerged as the primary suspect, a 35-year-old financial advisor who appeared to embody success and charm. Beneath his polished exterior, however, lurked a labyrinth of deception. Not only was Marlon married to Emily, but he had simultaneously maintained a secret marriage with Zara Pinnock in Miami, a relationship that threatened to unravel his meticulously constructed facade of normalcy. The discovery of his bigamy by Emily just days before her murder presented a potentially explosive motive. What the detectives were about to uncover was even more shocking. Unbeknownst to both his wives, Marlon had been leading a third hidden life as a gay adult film actor under the pseudonym Ash Ketchum Krabs. This revelation added another layer of complexity to an already intricate investigation. Detectives Avery and Brooks brought Marlon in for questioning on the same day Emily's body was discovered, their professional composure masking their growing suspicions. During the interrogation at the West Palm Beach Police Department, Marlon maintained an eerily calm demeanor. When directly questioned about his whereabouts the night of the murder, he claimed to have been in Miami on business, staying at a downtown Hilton hotel. His alibi seemed ironclad, with hotel records confirming his check-in. "I was in Miami on business. I stayed at a hotel. You can check," he told the detectives with calculated composure. When pressed about Emily's recent discovery of his secret marriage, Marlon's response was carefully measured. "Yes, she found out recently. It's been hard on us, but I would never hurt her," he insisted. The detectives found his calm demeanor both fascinating and deeply unsettling. While his alibi appeared solid, the timeline remained suspicious. The possibility remained that Marlon could have driven from Miami to West Palm Beach, committed the murder, and returned to Miami without detection. The investigation had reached a critical juncture. Marlon's double life, or more accurately, triple life, provided a compelling motive for murder. Emily's recent discovery threatened to expose his intricate network of deception, potentially destroying his professional reputation, financial stability, and carefully constructed personal relationships. The detectives knew that people would kill to protect secrets far less damaging than those Marlon had been hiding. His unnerving composure only served to deepen their suspicions, marking the beginning of a complex and tangled investigation. The detectives found Marlon's responses almost too rehearsed, as if he had meticulously prepared for their interrogation. Despite persistent questioning about his whereabouts, relationship with Emily, and his complex hidden life, Marlon maintained an unwavering stance of innocence. He repeatedly insisted that he loved Emily and would never cause her harm. However, detectives Avery and Brooks knew that carefully crafted statements often masked deeper truths, and they would need substantial evidence to penetrate his carefully constructed facade. Released from initial questioning but placed under constant surveillance, Marlon became the center of an increasingly intricate investigation. Detectives Avery and Brooks methodically explored every aspect of his life, interviewing co-workers, scrutinizing financial records, and engaging with his second wife, Zara Pinnock. Each interview and document represented another potential thread in the complex tapestry of potential motives and opportunities surrounding Emily's murder. Zara Pinnock emerged as a critical figure in the investigation. A 30-year-old gynecologist respected in her Miami clinic, she was completely unaware of her position in Marlon's elaborate web of deceit. When contacted by the detectives on September 12, 2003, She was on September 15th, 5 days after Emily's murder, a breakthrough emerged that would reshape the investigation. Henry Guanabo, a local pawn shop owner, contacted Detective James Avery about a significant piece of evidence. A gold bracelet with Emily's initials, which the detectives immediately recognized as one she frequently wore, had been brought in for sale just 2 days after the murder. The shop's owner provided a description of the seller that remarkably resembled Robert Bonjevac, Emily's close friend and co-worker. Forensic analysis at the police station confirmed multiple crucial details. The bracelet definitively belonged to Emily, and fingerprints found on the item matched Robert's. Surveillance footage from businesses near the pawn shop provided additional damning evidence showing Robert entering the establishment wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses. This collection of evidence transformed Robert from a potential witness to a significant person of interest in Emily's murder. Detectives Avery and Brooks now faced the challenging task of understanding Robert's potential connection to this brutal crime, knowing that each piece of evidence brought them closer to unraveling the truth behind Emily Kenyon's tragic death. Zara's voice trembled with a mixture of disbelief and pain. "No, I never imagined he was capable of something like this," she confessed during her interview with the detectives. Her world had been shattered, the carefully constructed image of her husband crumbling like fragile glass. The man she thought she knew, caring, attentive, seemingly devoted, had become an unrecognizable stranger in the wake of Emily's murder. Detectives Avery and Brooks meticulously verified Zara's alibi, confirming her presence at work on the night of the crime. Her testimony, though deeply emotional, provided crucial insights into Marlon's complex character. With raw honesty, she described her husband's manipulative nature, revealing layers of deception that had remained hidden during their marriage. Despite her personal anguish, Zara demonstrated remarkable courage, cooperating fully with the investigation and expressing a genuine desire to see justice served for Emily. The investigation entered a critical phase on September 15, 2003, 5 days after Emily's murder. A breakthrough emerged that would potentially change the entire trajectory of the case. The morning dawned bright and clear, a stark contrast to the dark circumstances surrounding the investigation. Detective James Avery received a call that would prove to be a pivotal moment in unraveling the mystery. Henry Guanabo, the owner of Turner's Pawn Shop on Clematis Street, had discovered something significant. A gold bracelet with Emily's initials, recently brought in by an unknown individual, caught his attention. The small, cluttered shop, a treasure trove of miscellaneous items, became an unexpected crime scene nexus. When detectives Avery and Brooks arrived, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and potential revelation. The details emerged slowly but dramatically. Henry described the person who had attempted to sell the bracelet, a description that unmistakably pointed to Robert Bonjevac, Emily's close friend and colleague. Forensic analysis confirmed the bracelet's identity, with Robert's fingerprints providing a damning connection. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses captured Robert entering the pawn shop, carefully disguised in a baseball cap and sunglasses, an image that spoke volumes about potential guilt and premeditation. As the day progressed, the detectives assembled the emerging pieces of evidence: the bracelet, the fingerprints, the surveillance footage. Each element painted an increasingly complex picture of the crime. Detective Avery and Detective Brooks exchanged knowing glances, sensing they were on the precipice of a significant breakthrough. The investigation had taken an unexpected turn, with Robert Bonjevac moving from a trusted friend to a primary person of interest. The quiet intensity of their discussion suggested that they were about to delve deeper into a mystery that was far more intricate than it had initially appeared. The discovery of Emily's stolen bracelet marked a pivotal moment in the investigation, pushing detectives James Avery and Avery Brooks to focus their attention on Robert Bonjevac, Emily's close friend and colleague in the reptile community. Robert, a 49-year-old snake enthusiast, represented a complex figure whose deep, unrequited love for Emily and history of. On September 16, 2003, under a typical Florida morning sky, sunny with scattered clouds, the detectives arrived at Robert's modest home. The residence stood as a testament to his singular passion, filled with an extensive collection of snake terrariums and reptile-related memorabilia. Robert's appearance was striking, tall and thin, with glasses that seemed to magnify his evident anxiety as he cautiously led the detectives into his living room, his nervous demeanor immediately catching their professional attention. Their friendship had been built on a shared passion for reptiles, with Robert and Emily spending countless hours together at reptile shows and community events. During their initial questioning, Robert candidly admitted his awareness of the turmoil in Emily's marriage. She had confided in him about Marlon's bigamy, revealing her deep emotional distress and uncertainty about her future. This revelation provided the detectives with a potential window into Robert's complex, emotional landscape. The investigators carefully observed Robert's increasing agitation as their questioning delved deeper. His profound anger toward Marlon for betraying Emily was palpable, yet he consistently maintained his innocence regarding her murder. His emotional outbursts and intense, unreciprocated feelings for Emily created a psychological profile that demanded careful examination. The detectives recognized that unrequited love could sometimes drive individuals to unimaginable acts of violence. Robert's alibi for the night of the murder proved problematically weak. He claimed to have been home alone, tending to his snake collection, but could provide no independent witnesses to corroborate his story. Neighbors' reports contradicted his account, with multiple witnesses claiming to have seen his car leaving Emily's neighborhood late on the night of the murder, a discrepancy that significantly undermined his credibility. Further investigation uncovered another suspicious detail. Robert had visited Emily's garden the day after her murder, explaining his presence by claiming he needed to check on her snake enclosures. However, the timing of this visit raised significant red flags for the detectives. His explanation seemed rehearsed, and his emotional state suggested a deeper, more complicated involvement than he was willing to admit. The mounting evidence painted an increasingly complex picture. Detectives Avery and Brooks meticulously examined Robert Banjovis's medical history, uncovering a troubling past marked by treatments for depression and chronic anger management issues. His psychological profile revealed a complex individual whose intense emotional connection to Emily, combined with a history of mental instability, presented a compelling narrative of potential violence. The investigators recognized that unrequited love and psychological trauma could create a volatile emotional landscape capable of triggering extreme actions. The breakthrough in Emily Kenyon's murder investigation arrived on September 18, 2003, a humid, overcast morning typical of late summer in West Palm Beach. After weeks of painstaking investigation, the detectives were about to uncover evidence that would dramatically reshape their understanding of the case. Their relentless pursuit of truth had led them to an unexpected source, a neighbor's security camera that had silently captured a crucial moment on the night of the murder. The security footage revealed a shocking revelation that would change everything. It captured Marlon Kenyon entering Emily's backyard carrying a golf club, the same weapon that would be found covered in blood at the crime scene. Even more damning, the video showed Marlon leaving the area with blood-stained clothing, providing irrefutable evidence of his presence and potential involvement in Emily's murder. Detectives Avery and Brooks knew they had finally found the smoking gun that would bring justice for Emily. At precisely 3 p.m., under a heavy, clouded sky, the detectives arrived at Marlon's professional office. He was in the midst of a client meeting discussing financial plans with an air of complete composure. Unbeknownst to Marlon, his carefully constructed world was about to collapse. The detectives waited in the lobby, observing him through glass walls, watching a man who remained blissfully unaware of the impending storm about to engulf his life. The moment of arrest was dramatic and sudden. When the detectives entered the room and announced Marlon was under arrest, his carefully maintained facade instantly crumbled. He protested loudly, vehemently proclaiming his innocence as his shocked colleagues looked on in stunned silence. The handcuffs clicked into place and Marlon's rights were read, marking the definitive end of his double life and the beginning of his legal reckoning. At the West Palm Beach Police Department, Marlon's interrogation became a battle of wills. Despite overwhelming evidence, the fingerprints, the security footage, and the mounting circumstantial proof, he continued to deny any involvement in Emily's murder. His denials rang hollow against the mounting documentation of his betrayal and potential violence. The detectives methodically presented each piece of evidence. The defense, led by Mike Tran, a 50-year-old attorney with a reputation for navigating complex legal territories, mounted an equally passionate counter-argument. Tran challenged the prosecution's narrative, arguing that the evidence was fundamentally circumstantial. He painted Marlon as a devoted husband, suggesting that someone else, potentially Robert Banjovac, could have committed the crime driven by jealousy and unrequited love. His strategy was to create reasonable doubt to fracture the seemingly impenetrable case against his client. Throughout the trial, Emily's family bore witness to the painful deconstruction of her life and death. Her parents, seated in the front row, became a living embodiment of grief, holding each other tightly, their clasped hands a testament to their shared pain. Emily's sister periodically wiped away tears, while testimony from friends and colleagues gradually reconstructed a portrait of a remarkable woman. They spoke of her kindness, her passion for reptiles, her community involvement, and her unwavering integrity, characteristics that stood in stark contrast to the brutal manner of her death. After weeks of emotionally charged testimony and 3 days of intense jury deliberation, December 15th arrived with a verdict that would permanently alter multiple lives. As the courtroom fell into a charged silence, the jury foreman stood to deliver the judgment. "We find the defendant, Marlon Kenyon, guilty of first-degree murder," he declared. The room erupted, gasps, whispers, and finally tears and embraces from Emily's family, who had waited so long for this moment of vindication. The sentencing was equally profound. Marlon was condemned to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, a punishment that reflected the brutality of his crime. Emily's brother, speaking with a controlled yet emotionally charged voice, addressed the court, emphasizing the profound betrayal and the extensive damage inflicted not just on his family, but on an entire community. As Marlon was led away in handcuffs, his once confident demeanor had been replaced by a blank, defeated stare. The final chapter of a man who had constructed an elaborate life of deceit, now facing the ultimate consequence of his actions. The verdict and sentencing brought a complex tapestry of emotions for Emily's family and friends. Justice, though achieved, could never fully replace the profound loss they experienced. The courtroom's final judgment marked not just the end of a criminal trial, but this story teaches us that secrets can be deadly. Emily's tragic fate reveals the dangerous consequences of hidden lives and betrayal. It shows how manipulation and deceit can tear apart not just one life, but entire families and communities. Sometimes the people closest to us can be the most dangerous, hiding truths that can destroy everything we believe in. Emily's story reminds us to trust our instincts, be aware of red flags in relationships, and value honesty above all. Love this story? Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share with your friends. Your support helps us bring more incredible real-life stories to you. We'll catch you on the next deep dive into a story that proves reality is often more shocking than fiction. Want more mind-blowing stories? Stay tuned, stay curious, and keep scrolling.